Hey guys, this is Alex. Welcome to Night of the Batman. This is just a really quick intro. So this episode is going to be an interview I did with John Jackson Miller. I was able to interview him during GalaxyCon, and this will be the first of a two-part episode. One part here, and then the next part over at Superhero Stuff You Should Know. Where, if you want to hear the rest of it, just go over there. I'm the co-host over there with Ben. But anyway, without further ado, I interviewed him, John, for Batman Revolutions, his sequel to Batman Resurrections. We got into a little bit about the book. It comes out in October, and definitely look forward to it. Right after the interview, I will go into some of my general experiences as well as a panel I attended that he hosted. So, anyway, like I said before, without further ado, here we go.
Okay, all you Batman fans out there, you are listening to the Night of the Batman, and this is Jim Starlin, who had a little bit to do with Batman along the way. Have a good one.
Hi, this is Alex. I'm here today with John Jackson Miller for Night of the Batman.
How you doing?
All right. So, hey, John, my first question is, so obviously this new novel has a villain that was previously in Batman Forever. If you were to do another book, would you want to rework another villain they had done before? Or do like something like Clayface? Like, are you looking to do, you know what I mean? I kind of mean by that.
Well, Batman Revolution is the longest novel I've ever written. It is 544 pages, so it is significantly longer than Batman Resurrection. And so this is my answer to the question of what I'm doing next, is that I am recovering from the first one. And I will say that in Revolution, there are more villains, I think, than people are going to be expecting, and certainly ones that they are not expecting. And so, as to what I would do in the future, only the future knows. We never can announce anything before it's announced. But I would say that people who are approaching Batman Revolution, figuring it's just one villain. There's more to find out.
Nice, cool, great to hear. So this one, I think maybe is one of those things you can kind of answer possibly with. It's not like a spoiler or anything, but going off of that question in regards to future novels, do you plan for this to be like a trilogy of novels, or like have you figured out that far ahead?
Well, as stated, we only announce what we announce when we announce it.
Gotcha.
So, when I say that, the second novel is the longest novel I've ever written, it's almost 2.5 books that you're getting so far, because it is, with Batman Revolution, those two books are easily the size of 3 or 4 of other books that I've done.
Gonna hold us off for a while, basically.
So I think definitely it will take care of me for a couple of months.
There you go.
So, but again, look, it's Batman. There's always going to be more. Whether it's going to be more of what we have particularly done here, or more by me, we'll see.
Nice. I can't wait to read the next one. Obviously, from our previous interview, we loved the one before, so definitely looking forward to its release in October.
October 21, audiobook, hardcover, and ebook. Audiobook read once again by Will Dameron.
Thank you for joining me and taking time to do this interview.
Thanks very much.
All right, so that was a lot of fun recording that interview. That was actually my first on the floor interview. There was you can't really tell from the recording, but there was a lot going on, just sound wise. So it was, had to get a lot of it edited out. Actually had Dan from over at Superhero Stuff You Should Know help edit some of that sound out for me. So I told you I'd talk about some of just the other general experience that I had there. I did go to the legacy of Tim Burton's Batman, and I found out that John knew a lot more about the development of Batman '89 and that kind of world than I ever did. I like that he talked about the roots. He talked about like the stuff you always hear about, like the Mr. Mom that kind of thing. He also had like a lot of interesting articles and stuff that you can find on his website that I'll definitely include links to. But it was just really cool. I have a different experience with 89. While I do like it, it's not like my favorite. I would probably say my favorite. It's probably like either Batman Returns or like Batman Forever. Just because of when I grew up. Like, I just wasn't around really for all that hype. It was a little bit before my time, but yeah. I also just love the Batman Resurrection book. I cannot wait for the new just to see what they do with the new book, Revolutions. I feel like I'm not spoiling this at all, just because of the marketing material. It's not subtle. He even said that in his panel, but it's going to be about the Riddler. So I'm really interested to see, being a big Batman Forever fan, what kind of stuff they end up doing with the Riddler and that, because like we kind of do get like maybe a brief allusion to him in like the previous thing, but like this one it'll be interesting to see, because John has this talent of taking characters and kind of filtering it into Tim Burton's thing while also making them sympathetic and like kind of their own thing. Like he is like, he'll say himself he is a mimic, and I will agree with that to an extent. But also I will say that like he has a real knack for making like sympathetic characters, and nowhere else is that readily apparent than his Clayface. So if you haven't read that first book, now's a great time to do it. I'll be first in line to check out Revolutions. But yeah, I do like that this, he even addressed it in his panel, but I do like that the Batman 89 resurgence, like it kind of started with the Batman 89 comic and the Flash movie, which that movie quickly went away. I know because I covered it on Flashbacks, but it's the 89 love still stuck around despite the shelf life of that movie kind of not being as long as I maybe had hoped. But yeah, like it's really cool. That world definitely has its very unique vibe. I would kind of compare it to how the Batman feels, like just with like a fully realized world, and that's just the closest modern comparison I could probably make to it in terms of just visual aesthetics. Like the Gotham in there is very much more gothic. It's how I kind of identify Gotham. Like I'm much more of a fan of Batman the animated series, and that took heavy cues from how Anton first designed that world, and Bo Welch in the next one, like just how they with the assistance obviously of Tim Burton being the mastermind behind some of this stuff, but how they kind of just made this like German expressionism thing, like, and just made this very gothic looking Gotham, which I was kind of shocked to find out when I finally did check out the comics, was more of a retroactive thing. In the comics, it's, at least before that, it was kind of Batman was in the modern world. There was definitely like you'd see him in shadow a lot, but it wasn't like Batman was like in Transylvania or something. I guess that's the closest point of comparison I'd probably make for it. But yeah, if you're a fan, obviously you're checking this out, so I would assume that you're a big fan of the Tim Burton stuff, and probably a big fan of John Jackson Miller, like his stuff, or just the 89 comics. Maybe you've heard of this and you want to give it a shot. I would recommend, reading the first one, getting it on the ground floor before, before the new one comes out in October. But yeah, like if you're a fan of this kind of stuff, the kind of gothic, kind of like, I guess yeah, just like gothic, kind of like Transylvania, kind of almost horror tinged vibe that these stories have, I would definitely recommend this. I'm really interested to see, because I know one of the big things he did talk about in this, and sorry this is kind of rambly, it's just I'm kind of processing my thoughts after thinking about the interview. But it's going to be a big book. Apparently there's going to be a lot of villains, so maybe it'll be set in Arkham Asylum, who knows. And I guess like that one too kind of shares some shared DNA, like Arkham Asylum the game, definitely, in terms of the gothic aesthetic, but bringing back a lot of people from Batman the animated series. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what he does with that, and just like, like maybe it's going to be a sandbox thing where there's going to be, since maybe some of it might be in Arkham Asylum, maybe that'll be his, free license basically to, kind of mess around with some villains that, basically Sam Hamm hasn't touched yet. Because that was one of the things I know he had said before, that he wanted to stay, before Batman Returns, like in that that cross section between the first Batman and then Batman Returns. So like there's a lot of wiggle room there, and so I'm sure he's gonna probably try to do some different characters or some different villains that maybe you haven't seen yet. But anyway, regardless, all that said, I am a fan first of all this stuff, and like like a podcaster second. So like I definitely did enjoy just talking to him about this stuff, hearing the panel, and if you ever get the opportunity to meet him, definitely do that, and definitely check out these books. But yeah, anyway, all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up now. Again, if you want to check out the second part of this interview, where we go further in depth into some of the influences and some of the other things, I won't fully spoil it here, but definitely go check it out in the link below. And as I always say, we will come up with the outro eventually. See you guys.